What up, Yugi Bros? Today we got another duel video for you guys today. Two fan favorites, Crystal Beast versus Cyber Dragon. We are actually playing the Crystal Beasts while our opponent is playing the Cyber Dragon deck. And boy howdy are they interesting decks. So, for the Jessie skill, we are playing the Rainbow Crystal Collection. This is the skill that lets, if a face-up Crystal Beast monster we control would be destroyed, we can place a crystallization counter on it instead. And monsters with crystallization counters are considered continuous spells in the spell and trap zone instead of monsters. Counters would be removed if the monster is special summoned. Usually that's not the case. Our opponent is playing the Zane skill. Okay, well, I guess we can't show it off here. The Forbidden Cyber style technique. We're gonna start off with flipping our Rainbow Crystal Collection, and sadly, we're not gonna be able to do a whole lot here. These are really good in combination with each other. However, we don't have a Crystal Beast to start, which is scary against Cyber Dragon, because they tend to be able to OTK. They're going to start out with a Fusion, but they themselves cannot start with anything. They have a Keel, they can normal that, but they can't really do anything with that. So then we draw into Sapphire Pegasus, arguably the best Crystal Beast we could have drawn into. We're going to activate our Advanced Dark and normal summon our Sapphire. Sapphire's effect lets us put a Crystal Beast from our deck into our Spell and Trap Zone. To our Spell and Trap Zone, we're going to set 2. We're going to go straight to battle phase and swing for the 1800. We're going to pass to them. They're going to draw into Foolish Burial. In the draw phase, we're going to actually activate Crystal Raigeki, sending a Crystal Beast card in our Spell and Trap Zone to the grave to target a card our opponent controls and destroy it. Getting rid of the Future Fusion, because if it hit the standby phase, they could have revealed Chimera Tech, especially because of the Overload Fusions here. They could have dumped technically their whole deck of machines and then overloaded immediately into Chimera Tech. We don't want that to happen, so we're going to destroy that. They're going to special summon their Cyber Dragon. Foolish Burial, their Cyber Dark Claw. You guys have seen Cyber Darks in one of my other videos, but if you haven't, Claw is a dragon, believe it or not, and when you normal summon Keel, he can target a level 3 or lower dragon monster in the grave and equip to itself and gain its attack. So it's 1600 plus 8. They are at 2400 with that thing. We're going to have Cyber Dragon swing here. We're going to actually activate Crystal Conclave, and then we're going to trigger our Advanced Dark. So in damage step, if a Crystal Beast monster we control battles, and we would take damage, we could send a Crystal Beast monster from the deck to the grave to essentially make it so we don't take any battle damage. So we would normally take 300 here. However, we're going to have Advanced Dark send a Cobalt Eagle, since this is arguably the worst Crystal Beast, from our deck to the graveyard to negate the damage. And then our Crystal Beast, because of our skill, it is a crystal in our Spell and Trap Zone. It's treated as such, but it's in the Monster Zone, so we're going to represent it with this counter here. And then Crystal Conclave activates, and this says once per turn, if a face-up Crystal Beast monster we control is destroyed by battle or card effect, and it doesn't matter if it's ours or our opponent's, we can special summon a Crystal Beast monster from our deck. This card's really good. Also has another utility effect where you can send this face-up card from your field to the grave and target a Crystal Beast card you control and one card on the field and return both to the hand, which is really dumb. We're going to put this in attack mode on purpose so that our Advanced Dark triggers once again, because this card is not once per turn. So because the Keels tried to swing, we're going to send another. We're going to send Ruby Carbuncle from deck to grave. They're going to trigger their Claws effect in damage step. If the equipped monster battles, they can send a monster from their extra deck to the grave. They're sending Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon, because if they can set up Cyber Dark Dragon, they can equip this to it. So we're going to put the Emerald in our Spell and Trap Zone. We're going to not elect to have it take up the Monster Zone. I've noticed with this skill, you kind of want to like balance it. One here, one here. Usually that's perfect, because you want to keep 2 zones open for Spell and Trap, 2 zones open for monsters. You don't really normally play with more than 2 in the Spell and Trap Zone at any time. We're going to draw into Rainbow Dragon, a little premature for that. We're going to activate Crystal Beacon. Crystal Beacon says if we could special summon a Crystal Beast monster from our deck, but we have to have 2 or more Crystal Beasts cards in our Spell and Trap Zone to activate this effect. But thankfully our skill treats this as being in our Spell and Trap Zone, well, it has that counter. So we're going to summon a copy of Amber Mammoth to the field, and then we're just going to pass turn. We're going to put it in attack mode, obviously, to make Advanced Dark still the favorite here. They're going to have their Keel swing into our Mammoth. We're going to activate Advanced Dark, sending our Topaz Tiger to the graveyard. And then we're actually just going to send the Mammoth here, because like I said, I want to keep 2 zones open, but Conclave will activate, and we get to special summon a Crystal Beast from the deck, so we will summon another Pegasus. We're just going to put it there on the field, take the damage, and call it a day. We actually have all 7 of our Crystal Beasts, if you've noticed. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So Pegasus is an extra. We're playing 3 Pegasus in the deck, but we don't want to have that Pegasus equipped a 3rd. We'd like to keep another monster in the deck, but we have everything we need. We draw into rare value, which is actually some really good value here, no pun intended. This says if you control 2 or more Crystal Beast cards in your spell and trap zones, your opponent chooses a Crystal Beast card in your spell and trap zone to send to the grave, and if you do, draw 2 cards. Since Crystal Beast Sapphire Pegasus counts in that section, they can send that. We draw into Rainbow Gravity and Sapphire. I'll talk about Gravity in a second. We're going to special summon out the Rainbow Dragon since we have everything for it now. This can only be special summoned by having 7 Crystal Beast cards with different names on your field and or graveyard. So between the field and grave, you see 6 here and 1 here. So that's enough to bring this out. This card actually has 2 cool effects. The first being you can send all Crystal Beast cards you control to the grave. This card gains 1,000 attack for each monster sent to the grave. You can also banish all Crystal Beast monsters from your grave, shuffle all cards on the field into the deck. The first effect is a quick effect, the second one is not. However, neither of these effects can be activated the turn if this card is summoned how it's normally summoned, which is a little unfortunate. But Speed Duels gave us this Rainbow Overdragon, which it's a fusion of 7 Crystal Beast monsters. It's always treated as an ultimate crystal. It must either be fusion summoned as such, or special summoned by tributing a level 10 ultimate crystal monster. Keep in mind, Rainbow Dragon actually says, if I can bring it up here, that it is always treated as an ultimate crystal monster, and it is in fact level 10. So we can tribute the Rainbow Dragon for Overdragon, and then Overdragon doesn't have a stipulation saying you can't use his effect immediately. His 2 effects are once per turn you banish a Crystal Beast from your grave, and this card gains attack equal to the banished monsters until the end of the turn. And the other effect, which is a quick effect, is you contribute this fusion summon card to shuffle all cards on the field into the deck. We don't have to use the shuffle effect yet because there's nothing illuminating that needs a threat, but we will banish a Sapphire Pegasus, boost our guy up to 5,800, and swing over the Cyber Dragon for game. Sorry for the voice today, guys. I'm a little under the weather. Going into game 2, we start out a little bit stronger with Advanced Dark and a Topaz Tiger. Obviously, we want them to attack this so we can trigger our Advanced Dark, and we're going to pass on that. They're going to special summon Cyber Dragon, normal summon Cyber Valley, and set a Lost Wind. They're going to have Cyber Dragon swing over here. We're going to obviously trigger our field spell. We're going to send the Eagle because we don't want to see the Eagle because it's the worst one. And they'll pass to us. Now, I'd say this or Emerald Turtle are the worst ones, but at least Emerald Turtle has 2,000 defense. So I kind of like it for that. We're going to draw into a copy of Sapphire Pegasus. We're going to normal summon it. We're going to use its effect. They're going to let that go. We're going to put Ruby Carbuncle in our spell and trap zone. We're going to activate Crystal Beacon because we have 2 in the spell and trap zone to summon the Amethyst Cat from the deck. Amethyst Cat has a cool effect where it can attack directly, but it's the damage it inflicts is halved. But that's fine. Chip damage is chip damage, so we'll use it to attack there. And then because we know what Cyber Valley is going to do here, we're going to have Pegasus attack into it. Valley is actually a really cool card. It has 3 different effects. The one here is when it's targeted for an attack, you can banish it, draw a card, and end the battle phase. That's really strong, especially in Speed Duels. So the draw actually into Straight Flush, and then that'll end the battle phase, which essentially ends the turn in speed since there's no main phase 2. They draw hard into a Polymerization, which is actually only one of in this deck. They're going to send Cyber Phoenix, Cyber Dark Horn, and the Cyber Dragon on the field to the graveyard to summon a copy of Chimera Tech Overdragon. Now, this card is very interesting. It takes a Cyber Dragon and 1+ machine monsters, any number of machine monsters, as long as one of them is a Cyber Dragon. It must be fusion summoned. If this card is fusion summoned, you send all the cards you control to the graveyard, so they're going to trigger that here. They're going to then chain their Lost Wind, since they'll lose their Lost Wind, and they're going to choose the cat, because we did special summon it through the beacon. And then Chimera Tech actually has this cool effect where he gains 800 attack for each fusion material. There were 3 used here, which we'll represent in a second. And this card can attack your opponent's monsters a number of times each battle phase up to the number of fusion materials. So this card can attack 3 times on monsters, and it's 2,400. They're going to set Straight Flush, which is actually really good against this deck. They're going to go straight into battle phase. They're going to swing over the cat. We're going to trigger our Advanced Dark. The upside to their monster being able to swing multiple times is that we are going to trigger Advanced Dark twice here. First sending the turtle, then sending the mammoth. And yeah, and just like that, we already have all 7 in the graveyard. I'm going to draw in a Crystal Raigeki. We're going to special summon out Rainbow Dragon, since we have 7. They're going to let that go. We're going to then send it to the grave to bring out the Rainbow Over Dragon once again. They actually do set a Lost Wind here. It kind of gets mistranslated. We're going to set Crystal Raigeki. We're going to then go into battle phase. We don't want to use Over Dragon's effect because we have exactly 7, and we do play another Rainbow Dragon and Rainbow Gravity, and we'd like that to stay live. This is only really relevant when you have extra copies of the Pegasus in the graveyard. But it's fine. It's 4,000 attack. We'll have it swing over their Chimera attack, and they're going to take 1,600. Go to the end phase, they'll activate Straight Flush, which says if our opponent controls a card in each of their spell and trap zones, it destroys all cards in the spell and trap zones. And since all 3 were filled, not only do all 3 of those go, but this does as well because it's treated as being in our spell and trap zone, which is kind of nuts. So we're actually going to let them set their Lost Wind because they missed the opportunity. They meant to, then there was a misclick, and we lost connection for a second. They're going to draw an Overload Fusion, which is actually a really good top deck here. They're going to use it to banish Phoenix, Dark, Cyber Dragon, and Chimera Tech. Keep in mind this says that Fusion summons a Dark Machine monster by banishing materials from your field and graveyard. And because he's 1+ machines and a Cyber Dragon, they're going to banish 4 here. Summon another Chimera Attack, and it's going to go to 4, but it's going to destroy everything on their field, so they're going to chain the Lost Wind that they set at the end of their last turn. We're going to then chain Over Dragon's other effect, which says, quick effect, you contribute this fusion summon card, shuffle all cards on the field into the deck, which is kind of nuts. It's a good contingency plan. So they actually get nothing here for what that is, and we top deck Crystal Beast Sapphire Pegasus, number 2 of 3 in the deck. We use its effect because why not at this point? We're going to put the other one out in the spell and trap zone. And guys, they conveniently have 1,800 life points. It's too good to be true. Storybook ending. Storybook ending. So for our Crystal Beast deck, we play 2 copies of Rainbow Dragon, 3 Sapphire Pegasus, 1 each Topaz, Amethyst, Amber, Cobalt, Tortoise, Emerald Tortoise, and Ruby Carbuncle. You don't want to fill the deck up with too many of these. I feel like none of them are necessities except for this, because this can get you another one. I'd argue if you wanted to play a second Topaz, because he gains 400 when he attacks an opponent's monster, so at least he's 2,000. Also, Cat's not bad because it can attack directly, so you can kind of build a deck where you stall and just swing directly a lot of the time. 2 Advanced Dark. This card is really good, but outside of what it doesn't do anything. So they have to not have any spell and trap removal. If they do, it's not nearly as good. 2 Crystal Beacon. If you have 2 in your spawn trap zone, you can special summon 1 from the deck. Usually you do the Pegasus, and then Pegasus can get you another one, so it's like a 2-for-1, which is nice. 2 rare value. You could arguably play 3, but I didn't want to clog the deck. If you have 2 or more in your spawn trap zone, your opponent chooses 1 to send to the grave, and then you draw 2. This is really good with the skill, though, because you can have more than 2 in your zones, in your monster zones. 2 Rainbow Gravity. This is probably a stretch. You probably should just play 1. It's kind of a late game play. If you have 7 Crystal Beast cards with different names in your grave and or field, you can special summon an ultimate crystal from your deck or grave, ignoring its summoning conditions. So you can bring this out from deck or grave, ignoring its conditions, which is kind of ridiculous. 3 Crystal Conclave, because this gets everything going. And you didn't see me use the other effects, but the other effect's really strong as well. And it says you can send this face-up card to the field, the grave, and target a Crystal Beast card you control and 1 card on the field and return them to the hand. So really good spot removal. Lets you also return something like Sapphire Pegasus, even if he's in the spell and trap zone, to your hand and then reuse him later on. 3 Crystal Raigeki. I opted 3 of this just because the deck stalls until you hit the Rainbow Dragon. And this is just an all-around gets rid of any card. This is kind of like your Infernity Break. You send a Crystal Beast in your spell and trap zone to the grave to target any card your opponent controls and destroy it. And then 1 Metaverse to make Advanced Dark a little bit quicker. You could play the skill Advanced Dark, but then you'd be hindering yourself. Crystal Beast's 2 skills. The other skill says you can like discard up to 3 cards twice per duel to put that many Crystal Beasts in your spell and trap zone. The problem is you load up your spell and trap zones really fast. You want at least 1 or 2 of your spell and trap zones open at all times, and you're losing hand advantage to do that. I just feel like that card's actually not as good as it reads. The other skill that I used in the video doesn't seem to be a whole lot of like a whole big deal, but it honestly, having 1 extra monster zone be treated as a spell and trap zone is amazing for that deck. So I definitely recommend that skill over the opposite. But you could play neither. You could play the Advanced Dark skill. That way you just start with Advanced Dark, which is not bad. Because this does this, and this is what gets you into milling your cards for your rainbows. We also play 2 rainbows instead of 1. The only reason we do that is because you'll get these out within like turn 2 and 3, and then you have to wait till you hard draw 1 of 2 or the Rainbow Gravity. And it's not the greatest, but also they can out one, and then having the other one is so strong, and then having this to bring back 1 of the 2 from deck or grave is also very strong. But it goes away quite quickly, especially because you're playing Over Dragon, so you're sending Rainbow Dragon to the grave for the Over Dragon, and then you could activate the Gravity, bringing back the Rainbow Dragon. You could then, in theory, drop another Over Dragon. But Over Dragon's easily the better of the 2. But either way, I just like having 2 bosses instead of 1. You get these to the grave pretty quickly. You can also play Foolish Burial in here, but I don't like how Foolish doesn't do anything else, whereas these cards at least do other things that, allow you to stall more. The side deck, we played 2 Double Cyclone because this does target a spell and trap on each side of the field, and these are all spell and traps in your spell and trap zone. These are all continuous spells in your spell and trap zone. 2 Wall of Disruption for more stall and allowing the weaker ones to get over stuff, and then 2 Wabaku for those big decks that try to take you out really, really fast. This just, it gives you a free turn to go into your turn and drop the boy. And then for the extra deck, we play the 3 Rainbow Over Dragon because you could, in theory, 1, 2, and 3 make 3 Over Dragon. And then we play these if we were to play Waking the Dragon. I feel like these are the best 3 targets for Waking the Dragon. But that's just me. But guys, let me know what you think down below about my Crystal Beast deck. This took a long time to work on. This deck's very finicky, because you have to play with a bunch of bad cards if you want to play Rainbow Dragon. I know a lot of competitive Crystal Beast decks don't even play Rainbow Dragon, but I didn't want to go into this game and not have the 2 big powerhouses of Zane and Jesse's deck not face off against each other. But let me know if you have any alternatives down below. Comment, like, and subscribe as always. Click the notification bell, and I will see you guys in the next video.